There is a very thin line between empowering yourself and empowering others. When we understand the importance of giving and we acknowledge that there is a great power of being of service to others, that is your insight to recognizing the oneness between us all. When you give to yourself, you in turn give to others. When you give to others, you in turn give to yourself. Why is that? Because when it comes to understanding spiritual leadership, it is truly making the connection and knowing when compared to what other people know. It's really you being able to have this gift, this skill to identify that there is oneness between you and them, between them and you. And when you identify this divinity within each and every one of us, in each and every thing, you develop a sense of empathy that goes far and beyond what most people can comprehend. As you become a spiritual leader, you recognize that when you allow people and empower people, right, to be creators themselves, just like you are on this journey to come into self-realization as to who you are and take what you know of yourself and what you discover of yourself to create not only the things that you desire, but the reality that you want, whether it be your own individual universe in reality or even the shared collective reality that we all intertwine with. You take that and you recognize that because you understand this oneness, you can then help and support others in a way that is completely different than simply having a exchange, right? Or to think in terms of if I do this favor for this person, then they would do this favor for me in return. We think differently in terms of really giving means giving to ourselves because we are one with everything. Even in terms of karma, even in terms of what we do unto others is what we do unto ourselves. Even in terms of giving is not simply a matter of giving to an individual and expecting something in return, expecting, reciprocation. It's understanding that though you give to an individual, you recognize and you grow in a way that allows you to understand that what you get in return, most cases, does not necessarily come from that individual. It comes from somebody else, something else. Because remember, it is all one. So when we think in terms of letting, somebody have something, giving something to someone, maybe even borrowing or loaning money to the person or investing in what they believe in, many times when we are in our ego, we think, you know what, that person owes me. I've helped that person, so they should acknowledge me. And though acknowledgement is good, though paying a loan back is very important, it is good for you, better for you to relieve yourself of an expectation, relieve yourself of this attachment to a particular outcome. Because remember, when you're on a spiritual journey, you do not see them so much as individuals in terms of receiving the love that you put out into the universe. It's out into the universe. So the universe, in its infinite way, will reply and give you back what you have given tenfold, maybe even more. But you have to understand that it isn't so much about holding that individual in a space where they are the ones who are supposed to do something. It is simply acknowledging that when you are giving to them, you are giving to the universe. When you are giving to them, you are giving to yourself, because the universe, one of its fundamental laws is giving, is returning, is karma. So you understanding that and trusting in that is very important. So when you think in terms of empowering others to be creators of their own reality, you are ultimately giving and empowering yourself. You are empowering them by simply acknowledging and being in connection with the fact that you are a creator. And then you are going through the process, right, of leading the other aspects of who you are. Your consciousness knows what it is. Your consciousness knows it is the creator of your reality. But your subconscious mind may not be aware or may be very resistant because of all of the unproductive, limited belief systems that you were given as a child up until this point. Right? Your unconscious maybe have experienced trauma that cannot let go of the idea or the beliefs that you may see yourself as less than, as barely enough. But in fact, you are more than enough. Simply saying I am enough is not enough. You must acknowledge that you are more than enough. You are everything. You are all. So when you go on this journey and you make the connections, because this path is not linear, right? It's just not a straight line. You're all over the place. To me, I identify it more as a spiral, right? You are ascending upward. And it seems like in many cases you are going in circles, but that's just a matter of the point of view. If you are looking from a certain angle or perspective, then it seems like you're going around in circles. But in reality, you're just simply going in a spiral. And you are ascending because there is no, you remaining the same. There is no stagnation on the spiritual journey. It may feel that way, but ultimately you are progressing. You may speed up the progression. You may slow down the progression, but there is always progression. Your job as a conscious creator, though, is to increase the speed, increase the velocity, increase the intensity. So that way you can go on this journey in a way that is very supportive and makes sense to your mind, to your subconscious mind, and it just allows you to have more comfort. But ultimately, time is not really a big issue. We just simply, because we are identifying with our ego and our physical selves in this physical realm, time is a big component of this reality. And so we tend to identify and lean more into time, but time isn't really a thing. What's really a thing is more important is your self-realization, your evolution, your unfoldment. And you have to do that by nurturing your gifts, right? Allowing yourself to really take ownership of who you are. When you take ownership of who you are, it is easy for you to acknowledge other people's gifts. You see, there's a extremely thin line. The line is almost, I would say the line is actually non-existent. There isn't a line. The line is the illusion of our ego. The line just says, I am me, you are you. But in actuality, we are one, right? It is only oneness. So when you are thinking in terms of nurturing your gifts, you also want to think in terms of supporting others to nurture their gifts. Do not be resistant toward other people and feeling like they are ahead of you. They are getting things before you. They are materializing things quicker than you. When you look at them, see yourself in them. Remember, we are one. So celebrate them just as you would celebrate yourself when they are making progress, when they are ascending, when they are making steps and strides, just like you will want them to celebrate you. You see, this separation of them and you is simply a product of the ego. And when you manage that ego appropriately, you recognize that, yes, they are them, you are you, but ultimately that is just simply an illusion in this physical realm at the moment. Okay, but then eventually, once we ascend from this physical realm and the concept of protecting our physical body, protecting us from harm, the idea and concepts of time will be completely different. But you and I, being an individual expression of God, of the universe, will always remain the same. So you have to understand that they are a spark just like you are a spark, and we are sparks from the same source, which makes us ultimately the same. So you must encourage people to take responsibility over their reality, just like you are taking responsibility over your reality. Allow people to be where they are. Some people are going to be resistant about the whole idea, the whole concept. right? They believe because they were taught that God is there looking down on us, created everything, and they have no say, they have no control, that they cannot create their reality, that they are not individualized expressions of God. And that is just simply where they are. But by you being an example, by you simply living your life, you are being a model for them to begin to break down that limiting belief system, that negative paradigm. And you are slowly breaking down the concept, and they are looking at you, wondering how you are materializing, how you are expressing such fulfillment and joy in your life. You see, that is where you actually lead. We think that we lead more by lecturing people, by telling people what to do, by judging people. But the true reality of the fact is you lead by simply leading yourself, by being an example, by being of integrity, by following through with what you say, right? By doing research, by experimentation, by playing the game of life. And what I mean play, that's exactly what I mean. When I say play, I mean play. Have fun with this process. This whole experience of life is about playing, discovering new concepts, new theories, new belief systems, reprogramming the old belief systems that don't serve you, and then playing around with new systems, and then discovering that these systems work better than the others, or the opposite. These new systems do not work better than the systems that I've been using, right? And then allow yourself to just simply play, dibble and dabble, and discover your own journey, your own spirituality, even your own religion, because you are a religion of one. There are no two Christians that are alike. There are no two Muslims that are alike, no two Buddhists that are alike. So you must understand that this whole process is about you stepping into your individuality and owning the reality that you are constantly creating through your individual consciousness. You see, that is the difference, really, is that your ability, your expression of life, your perspective over everything that you are experiencing, everything that you are responding to, you are creating, is a result of your consciousness. And the sooner you own that, the sooner you can come to a space of peace, a space of recognizing you are like the one in power, right? You are in control. And I know it can seem heavy, the idea that you are in power, that you are ultimately responsible for all these things. But own the fact that the thing that really is in power is that of the divine consciousness of the world, the universe. That part of you that is God, that part of you that is the source, that is the universe, that has created all of this and decided to have an individualized expression called you. So you have this all covered. You just simply have to go through the journey of rediscovering, of reawakening. Okay. You decided to simply go to sleep. Now you are going through the process of waking up to who you are. So you must understand that it is very important to go on this journey, utilize guidance, utilize knowledge passed down, right? Utilize insight and people's experiences, but definitely do not be dependent on those things. Just like when you are on this journey ahead of someone else, meaning you've just got a little bit further, you have a little bit more experience and insight, and you have gotten results, right? The desired results of your consciousness. And so when people see that in you, they may ask questions and they may say, hey, how did you do that? You're going to provide guidance. You're going to give them insight on what you did. The thing is, though, they cannot depend on you to do it for them. They cannot depend on you to tell them every single detail, nook and cranny of what it is that you've done, because it wouldn't matter, because they can only take the baseline information. They have to make it theirs. That's the whole point of our individual lives, is to have an individualized experience of being a creator. So whatever works for you, right, may not exactly work for another person. It's just really getting into the bare bones of what it is that you did. And they have to take that, play with it, and come into an understanding as to how they can apply it to their consciousness and their purpose. You see? So it comes down to all those things. And that takes self-awareness, that takes experience, right? That takes experimentation. So you have to understand that the journey is about, yes, owning your individuality as a individualized spark, but not to the point where you think that everyone is against you or you are against them or there's competition, right? You have to know where the line is between yourself and the oneness that is all. And when you understand that line, then you understand, okay, this is how you remain balanced. This is how you keep balance. So your journey is really one of first really getting into the oneness of all things, because the idea of being separate and individual coming from the ego, that's not anything new to us. We've lived the majority of our lives in that mindset. Now we need to transition into a more holistic approach of universal consciousness, of collective consciousness, of understanding you are me and I am you. You see, you are experiencing this, me, right, from your own consciousness. You are, though I am having this experience of sharing this knowledge with you, you are experiencing it very differently, very uniquely based on you. If somebody else was to consume this information, gain this insight from me, they will receive it differently as well because they are them. That is the beauty of life. That is the beauty of going through this journey, is that your journey is special and it is customized for you. So you have to understand when it comes to leadership, self-leadership, it is about creating a space where you recognize the importance of the culture, right? The culture of spirituality, the culture of identification of the group, the collective, understanding that, yes, we are individuals, but we are the same as individuals. We are individuals, but we are connected. And it is that connection and the similarities or the things that make us the same is what gains and gives us more power than the actual individuality, the actual separation. You see, it is the duality of the universe. There are always two things happening at the same time. And a lot of times it seems very contradictory. But that, again, is the duality of the universe, right? There is an individualized expression, you, but yet there is a oneness that is all. And those things exist simultaneously. And when you understand those things existing simultaneously in the relationship, right, the perspective, the understanding of those two things happening, and they need to happen, then you understand balance. Then you understand a better way of looking at how to approach life, how to approach leading yourself through this spiritual journey, how to approach being a leader for other people, whether it be on the spiritual journey or simply just an idea, an objective, a mission, a task, a goal. But the most important thing is understanding this balance. But this part here is about recognizing the power of empowering others. Because when you empower others, you empower yourself. Because remember, when we're talking about being a creator and we are empowering others to be creators, to be who they truly are, those are the aspects, those are the elements, the essence of oneness. because we're talking about consciousness. Consciousness leans into oneness. That is what it is derived from. That is the source of it. That is the purest essence of who you are. That is the spark itself. So its essence, its reality, its understanding, its world is oneness. So when you communicate with somebody and you are encouraging them to be creators, you are communicating with that aspect of oneness, that essence of them that understands oneness. And so because you are communicating with them at that frequency, it supports your consciousness. Because again, it understands the frequency of oneness. So it's important to identify when you're communicating with somebody, what aspect of them are you communicating with? If you are encouraging, if you're thinking about them being a creator, them doing what they love, them owning their skills and their talents and their passions, and you are helping them take responsibility over that and their reality, then you are communicating from a frequency of oneness. And that is what is going to support your consciousness to elevate as well. You see, it's almost like two things becoming together, becoming stronger individually because they are together. So as you support others from that place of oneness and creation and understanding you create your reality, they create their reality, it will in turn reinforce your mindset, reinforce your consciousness, support you in continuing to fortify that way of thinking, that way of being. So support others, okay? Share. The best way to share is by being. But then when you are being, there will come a point where people will ask you questions. So continue to help, so be supportive, allow them to learn, to own their reality. Imagine a world where we all own responsibility over our reality instead of blaming others, instead of feeling helpless, feeling like victims, feeling lost, feeling like we have no sense of control or say over life. But if you are practicing ownership of your life and knowing that you take full responsibility over your reality, people will recognize that and they will be inspired. And eventually, we will all be at a place where we can own our reality and create the life that we want. Thank you so much. Feel free, go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.